Tom, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. 22.
Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys and girls to what is not a show hosted by a 22-year-old, but instead a 31-year-old who I hope looks still 22. That'd be quite nice, but I don't believe for a second that's the case. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, for joining me. I appreciate all your messages from the Arsenal manager to all of our listeners and, of course, all of TGT's community. Really appreciate all the kind words said yesterday. It means a lot. It shows you again kind of the camaraderie, the community, and kind of where things have gone. Amazing, really, isn't it? Good morning to all of you. Thank you for listening. And I hope you've had a fantastic start to your weekend, of course, as well. And I hope you're doing good and well. Good morning to Peter, to Paul, to Shari, to Paul, to Mandy. We've got Prince. We've got Matt G in the chat. We've got John. We've got Steve. We've got Glenn, Mohammed, Markey. We've got Scouse Gooner and Zoom. Good morning to Rob and Paul from Rob Paul. Rob and Paul and Rob Paul in the chat box today. Good morning. Unfortunately, still YouTube is showing up the ats and the handles of people. I don't know why. I can't change it myself. So again, apologies for that. But at the moment, it's not. I can recognize some images just about Carrie Ann, I think that is. Gooner 76, of course, Div Angaroo in the chat box. Mike in the chat as well. Thank you to you all for joining us. Claire, Natty, Tom, and Paul, of course, as well. So yeah, it's apologies. I don't really know why it's it's not that way inclined, but it is working that way this morning. I don't really know why. Right, let's jump, shall we, into today's short stories. There isn't too many to discuss with you today. Just, of course, some press conference reaction, which gives us some hope, some optimism for the future, and for, of course, our hope that we are going to find ourselves returning to, or rather seeing some returning players, of course, in the team as well, which would be greatly appreciated considering what we've had to deal with so far this season. Pep Guardiola was speaking ahead of his Manchester City side's game against Newcastle this weekend. They travel to St James's Park for their relevant match, a game in which I think most Arsenal fans will be looking at with fingers crossed that Newcastle can do Arsenal a favour and can do Arsenal a real solid. He was asked about kind of them being 4 points behind Arsenal, to which he said the season starts today. The summer transfer window, the 3 international breaks are behind us. Now we have no international breaks until March. So now the season really starts. And that is the case. The season is now. That's what we're thinking about. That's what we're talking about. We haven't got any breaks. It is all the way through, full steam ahead to the next period of the campaign. So now is the time to really put the chips down and to, fingers crossed, get a result in all of the forthcoming games, despite our injury concerns and woes. But the main focus of yesterday was, of course, Mikel Arteta's press conference at the Shobarulti Training Centre, for which I was, of course, in attendance for. And there was more than I thought we'd get. I'll be honest with you. I thought we weren't going to get anything regarding injury news and thoughts and feelings. But we'll go through what Mikel said. He was asked, of course, for his response and update on Gabriel, to which he said, yeah, Gabriel unfortunately picked up an injury with the Brazilian national team and he's going to be out for weeks. He didn't say how many, but the reports are 4 to 8 weeks, supposedly, that he'll be missing. More clarity, he said, no, we need to have another scan. I think it's on Wednesday and we'll have the timeline probably much clearer than we have at the moment. He said it's clearly a blow because he's our leader, it's our backline, and to me it's obviously never a positive thing. And the good thing, as you mentioned, is that we have very good options and people have to stand up now and do their job. And there was a number of questions kind of around that element of players that can come in and replace Gabriel, and who exactly that will be, we will find out. But he said, you know, it's what we're looking for. The good thing is that we have rotated and played players in different positions at the very end of the season. Whoever plays is going to be ready to do that. And they are going to have a huge emphasis on filling a massive void that has been left by Gabriel's injury. And the hope is, of course, that he will be able to, whoever it is, Mosquera, Ngapié, Calafiori, Miles Lewis-Skelly, whoever decides or Arteta decides to come into the team, He's going to have a big job to do. Speaking of Calafiori, he did confirm that he hopefully kind of, he didn't really fill me with loads of confidence, but he said he missed the games. He wasn't available. He's been carrying a few things and we have to bring him back, and he hasn't trained yet. So tomorrow we have another training session and see how he is. I think it was Art asked the question a little bit later on in the press conference about Calafiori, and was kind of asking specifically about whether it's his load. And he said, yeah, he's been dealing with a little issue and he played, and we as well rest him and take that load because of that. When he got into the last game and had to travel with the national team, they were very understanding of the issue, and that's when they allowed him to come back. Don't know if that's a dig at Brazil. I assume not, and I am assuming that's not a dig. But when he says they were very understanding of the issue, well, were Brazil understanding of Gabriel's issue? And of course, still started him. He still started in the game, and I think we have a lot of regrets, of course, over that situation as well. It's one of those. It's one of those. But what's that? What's in the chat box? You're saying that the suspension is what's suspension? What's going on? Suspension for what? I need to know. Let me know in the chat. What on earth? The thing is, when I hop in away to read quotes and stuff, and I hop back and I glance over at the chat box, I don't know what's going on. Please enlighten me. But yes, moving into, did I say Wednesday or something about the game? I might have done. I don't know. Moving forwards, though, on the possibility that some of the players that we have seen missing for quite a while, Gyökeres, Martinelli, Jesus, Havertz, Madueke, Ødegaard, who knows? Who knows if they're going to be back? But Arteta says, yeah, we put a lot of energy during the international break with all the medical staff as well to try and bring them back as quick as possible. So tomorrow we have another training session, see how some of them are feeling, whether it's a bit too close to bring them in this game or we feel that they can have a contribution in the game. So tomorrow we'll have more clarity. And Darmesh really did try his best to get an answer from Arteta. He said, so there's a possibility some of them could be in the squad. And he says, yeah, well, I'm hopeful that we can make another step tomorrow, but certainly I cannot tell you. And he said, can you tell us the names? And he says, no, I can, but I'm not going to, which is completely fair enough. So fingers crossed we see some of those players in the group tomorrow. It would be a real boost to have any of them back. There certainly wasn't the same level of optimism that I think there has and is at the moment about many of those players. And James Benge also asked further questions on the topic around how optimistic he is about having potentially some of those players back in the group. He says, I am in terms of optimism, but it's the final stage, and now is when there is contact around them, when they have to be pushed into very unpredictable things that they have done or haven't done. I think they are going to be with us soon. I don't know if Sunday is going to be too soon for the game. And yeah, look, I think that element of fortune has been absent. We can all agree with that, and hopefully it really does find its way back for Arsenal on the weekend, and we can see, one of, just any of Gyökeres, Martinelli, Havertz. I don't think it'd be Havertz, but who knows? Madueke, Martinelli, Ødegaard. Keep our fingers crossed. Keep those fingers crossed that we can get some of those players back for that game. Just in terms of what I asked Mikel, I had this question kind of lined up a while ago. I listened to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain talking to Ben Foster on the Fozcast. I think actually some of you maybe even brought my attention to it. And it was a really good listen. And there was one point in that podcast that really stood out that he mentioned when talking about Thierry Henry. And it was something that I was really keen to kind of put to Mikel, and that's why I did. Of course, I asked about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain being back at the club and the importance of having him in and around the group and kind of reconnecting with those players. He said, well, it's great to have him around. Very proud to have him here because, first of all, he wanted to be back. So when that happens, he's a player that's been out and he wants to come. It's a real good sign. It means that he feels loved here, respected, and he believes it's the right environment for him to start again, to build something new in his career. We all know Alex, how magnificent a person he is. He could be a great example for the players as well with his experience, and even for me. So good to have him around. And which I then said, he did the interview with Ben Foster, where he talked about Thierry Henry coming back into the group and basically alluded to the fact that Thierry's arrival kind of made them feel as though there was a lack of an edge, that Thierry brought an edge. And he used the word a nastiness, is what the word that Ox used in that interview. So I said, do you feel as though that your team now has a nastiness, has an edge to go on and win these games? And he says, yes, I do feel that we have everything it takes to win. And I was like, oh, that's a bit of a short answer. So I was like, well, who would be the nasty ones? And he said, it's not about that. I don't know if that's the best word. It's at the end. You need to have everything that requires it to win. And then you have to deliver to do it. But I really believe in my team. So I think nastiness is something that Arsenal and title-winning teams need. I think you need a nastiness. And it's not about being nasty in a way in which you leave your foot in a challenge or you're trying to injure. That's not the nastiness that we're talking about here. The nastiness is to have zero empathy for your opponent, to just be ruthless in every single decision that you make and have that edge. And you could link it maybe into some of the dark arts. And I think that Arsenal have embraced some of those dark arts in previous seasons and up until now as well. But I think that that's the element. And maybe nastiness is not like the best word, but it is the word that Oxlade-Chamberlain used. Of course, as well, to describe that kind of element that he felt that he was missing in this group. Just a couple more things on Gabriel. James asked a question about kind of replacing Gabby, and particularly the pair of defenders of Saliba and Gabriel. And do you have to try and recreate that, or do you almost need to lean on the fact that kind of one player can't replace him and there may need to be two or three stepping in? And he said no, because every player brings their specific qualities, and Gabriel is his leadership, his presence, and his love that he has to defend and transmit, as well as his body language to other players. We have to do it, and we have to spread that. People will step up. We've done it in the past many, many times. Unfortunately, we played last year the biggest and most problematic part of the season without him as well, and the team was able to cope with that also. I think that it's going to be impossible to replicate what Gabriel brings. We all know that. We all know it's going to be effectively impossible to replace Gabby. But players like Nkapie, players like Mosquera, Luis Skelly, whoever it is that comes into that back four for this game has got their own qualities, their own level, their own brilliance. And I really do think that we are so much better prepared than we ever have been before. To describe that. And just lastly, before we move on to part two and your questions and thoughts, Charles Watts was there and asked a question about Kieran Tierney as well, which was quite nice. He said, just quickly on Kieran Tierney during the international break, he's so loved here by the fans. We have such a special moment with Scotland and that we have seen. What were your thoughts on the goal? And I'm sure you had absolutely loved that moment. He says, well, I'm very happy for him, very happy for all the Scottish people as well, because I lived that for 2 years and I had an amazing experience and I fell in love with their passion and how they treat people. So I'm very happy for the country. I like that comment there about how they treat people. That's certainly a positive thing, isn't it? And yeah, I think overall, I'm feeling more optimistic about players returning and maybe seeing some surprises in the squad on Sunday than I had maybe before the press conference. But at the end of the day, this team, whoever is fit, whoever's available, whoever's going to be selected, they've got a job to do and they need to bring home the 3 points. Huge game. There's reports, of course, that there's going to be lots of demonstrations, lots of potentially tifos and banners, and it's going to be quite the occasions for those of you in the stadium. Please get in your seats early. I'm talking like 4:15 at the very latest, 15 minutes before kickoff. Please be in your seats as early as feasibly possible. Help create an amazing atmosphere. Help create a big occasion. Help create something that is going to inspire this team to a huge victory and to overcome our North London rivals once again in a brilliant record that we have against them in this particular ground as Arsenal continue to chase their title ambitions. So yes, fingers crossed that we're going to be able to achieve that, because it is going to be a hell of an afternoon. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know what kind of tifo it's going to be, Claire. I don't know if it's going to be like a fan tifo or a banner. I hope it's the fan tifos. I just think they're way better than the banners that are kind of held aloft by, equipment. Just let the fans create it. That's going to... That's the better ones, I think. When we played Real Madrid and it was like red and white around the stadium, like that. That's good. But hopefully there's banners, there's flags, there's fire, there's fireworks, there's everything that this team needs to be pumped up, this crowd to be pumped up and for this game to be something incredibly, incredibly special. So fingers crossed for all of that. If you need some special security while surfing the internet, though, there is only one place that you can go, and that is NordVPN. By going to nordvpn.com/Gooner, I should say, nordvpn.com/Gooner, you can get yourself a significant discount off a 1 or a 2-year plan with 4 months extra thrown in free. On top of that, too, there's, Good Friday deals. Don't miss out on them. 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not happy with the service. Go and check out the offerings. Listen to your favorites abroad. Shield your data from snoopers and criminals. Change your geodigital location. Hop into anywhere that is, of course, supported by Nord. It is a must for your mobile, for your tablet, for your laptop, for anywhere, any tablet, any piece of equipment that you're taking away with you anywhere else in the world, or even just onto a public Wi-Fi service down the road. Maybe you're sitting in a cafe, just needing to go and do some work. Well, give yourself that extra bit of security and peace of mind by switching on the #1 VPN service out there. Right, let's go to part 2, your questions and more, right after this. Right, this is part 2 of today's show, where we're jumping into the chat box and tackling some of your questions, some of your thoughts and feelings over the next 15 minutes or so. And I will say, obviously, yesterday's show, if you watched it, it got a little bit deep. Let's be honest with each other. It got a little bit deep towards the second half of the show. Not everyone agreed. Not everybody supports the point of views that were raised. And I get that. I understand that. But I will say that overall, the comments were amazing. So, some of what I read through yesterday was genuinely so heartwarmingly uplifting. I think the conversation that I had with that cab driver that I was telling you about, where we kind of ended by saying we wish everybody could just be nice to one another, be welcoming to one another, and get along with one another. I think that resonated the most. And I just want to say thanks for all the people that left some really nice comments. Some people couldn't help themselves. There's always some that can't. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the kind comments and words. It was a really, really great show, I thought, actually. I thought it was one of the better discussions that we've had on some of those tougher topics that we've had to come and kind of tackle at times. It was important to bring up what Ian Wright said on the overlap as well, and bring that more into the light also. Right, let's take some of these comments, shall we? John says, what scares you most about tomorrow? The game or the TIFO? Mine's the TIFO, says John. The TIFO doesn't scare me because I'm hoping that it's going to be done and they learn from their mistakes from last time and it's going to be done in the right way. So that's the thing that scares me the most is the potential of losing. It's as simple, or just even drawing. Like Arsenal not winning tomorrow is just a reality that I sincerely really do not want to have to deal with. It really, really isn't something that I want to have to deal with at all. I really want to just be able to enjoy the game, enjoy the occasion, enjoy everything that the North London Derby has to offer, as much as I'm allowed to from the confines of the press box. But sincerely, I hope that that I can indeed be in the best place possible. Natalie says, who do you think from the injured players for tomorrow could be back? Again, we don't know for sure. We hope some of the likes of Madueke, Martinelli, that'd be great. If Gyökeres is fit, amazing. But again, he was a big doubt going into this week. I don't think Kai will be back. That'd be a big surprise. Ødegaard, maybe. Again, he's a question mark. So it could be 3. We could get like 3 players back maybe in the group, in the squad. Not necessarily in starting 11, but in the squad. That would be ideal. Of course, tomorrow morning we will have our preview show, so you'll be able to tune in for that, and we'll go through my lineup, what I would like to see, what I think we will see. So make sure you tune in for that, of course, as well. Clint says losing is bad, but losing to Spurs is enough to cause some rather serious connotations. Nasir says Ødegaard will play poverty minutes, maybe. It's an awful week to have to try and bed in players who are coming back from injury. Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea. Really, really difficult to do. King says, are you playing final/last one standing? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not playing. I don't even know what that is, King. No idea what that is at the moment. I've been replaying all of the Halo campaigns recently, trying to beat the part-time on each level. It's harder than I thought it was going to be. Harry says, who would you most likely predict to get a red tomorrow if there was to be one? Romero. I think he's probably the safest pick for a red card these days in a North London derby. And who else? What else? What other questions have we got? Pat says, "Is Gyökeres in training? Still have him in my FPL team? I'd take him out if I were you, mate. If I'm just being honest with you, I'd probably be, or at least at the minimum, probably best to bench him. I would be surprised if he starts." Paul says, "I expect to be underwhelmed and embarrassed by tomorrow's TIFO. Could be really embarrassing if the club get it wrong again." I hope that it's not going to be that. I don't expect to be embarrassed by it. I'm not a pessimistic person. Maybe, Paul, you are. But I'm not. And I'm hoping that it's going to be something special. But it's not going to be. It doesn't have to be kind of the thing that's like hung from the wires. It can be a fan-created TIFO as well. So it might be something different. Harry says, "Do you think we'll finally see Gyökeres hit some form when Havertz get back in the squad, or do you feel that Havertz may steal the spotlight?" I hope that they both find form, but I think that Havertz really has a great chance of getting back into the starting 11 on a regular basis. But it could be the making of Victor. It really could be the making of him having that extra support, extra backing, extra depth. I think there is a lot to come from this Arsenal team with the players that are returning to the group as well. May said, "Did you go see Sub Focus tonight?" Tonight is Sub Focus, and I'm very, very, very. If you haven't listened, look, just do me a favor. Even if you're not into drum and bass, just stick your headphones in, find a quiet room or a rave, either of those two. Put the new album on, which is called Contact. That's what it's called. Sub Focus, Contact, and just listen to the first song. First song's called Ecuador. It is a masterpiece of drum and bass. Please go and check it out. Great energy. I hope they kind of play it if Pierre Hincapié scores. I might drop the DJ a bit of a message. Be like, can you just drop that on Sunday? Bit of Ecuador. If Hincapié is going to be involved, that'd be pretty cool. Shunito says, "We ain't losing to Spurs. Don't know why we should be scared of Spurs when we have only conceded one goal all season at the Emirates. I don't care who plays. It's 3-0. The boys know what it means to us." Spirit says, "Why so much pessimism in the summer? Is this the summer transfer window?" Yeah, I know. Abdul Hakim says, "I hope Michael Oliver doesn't make the game about him. You and me both, mate. You and me both." Chris says, "Not sure if it has been asked before, as it was the news a few days ago. What do you think of Stefan Schwartz's comments that Gyökeres should lose weight?" Goodness me, I didn't even see those comments. I think he's probably the most misunderstood player. Gyökeres. Let me see if I can find the comments. Big Victor Gyökeres told to lose weight by ex-Arsenal star who made the same transfer as him. He needs to get his fitness up. I think he's in the right team, and Mikel Arteta and the players around him. It's a fantastic squad. He's in a strong team. Arsenal has been fighting for the big title, so maybe he can help the team to take this big step. But of course, everybody is a piece of the jigsaw, so everyone is important. But of course, he has a big presence. He's a strong physical guy and a good finisher with both feet. The quality shown by the players on the bench and the options that Arsenal have means that Gyökeres won't play all the games, because I think they have a lot of good players to take on the tactical decisions from the time to time based on the opponent or during the results. Sometimes the dog who barks loudest is not always the strongest. I think the players in the Premier League, they are more powerful players, faster players. Hopefully, he'll start to create and score some goals, have a good run, get a real boost, and get a bit lighter because he's a heavy player. I think that would help. He didn't have a proper preseason, and you need games to play. You have those 6 weeks to interact with your colleagues to understand the movement. When the midfielder makes a pass, you have to look in their eyes, you know, where they'll pass. That's a relationship, and it takes time. I mean, he didn't say any. It's kind of one of those, isn't it? Like, where it's the words that he uses are, where is it? Get a bit lighter because he's a heavy player. I mean, if you look at Victor Gyökeres, that's just his frame. That's just how he's built. Like, I don't know why this gets so much attention. It's like he's just kind of a broad, powerful player, and I don't think you're going to see him like trim and lean. That's just not how he's built. It's how his frame is. So it's one of those. Graham says, heard there will be things on seats to hold up. Yes, there should be. There should be some things on seats. Chris said, not sure if it has been asked before. It was in the news a few days ago. We kind of touched on that just now, didn't we? I somehow managed to read the same question twice. Graham says, yeah, I've done that. Just done it 2 times in a row. John says, how many players are out for tomorrow's game for both teams? I heard potentially 14. Yeah, it's a lot. I don't know all the Spurs one off by heart because I think a few of them are back in training now. I think Kudus trained, Archie Gray trained. I don't think Solanke's playing. I think Kolo Muani trained. So I think they've got quite a few of their players coming back as well. Shunit says, Tom, please discuss Slot's comments on Dominic Szoboszlai. Why would a coach be making a jest of his players and his club when he is the main culprit? Let me see. Let's see if I can find any of the comments from on the Szoboszlai thing. What did he say? What did he do? I don't know what Slot on Szoboszlai's Hungary failing to make the. He said Hungary played two good years of football, picking up quite a lot of points, but has no chance to qualify anymore. But luckily, he's used to disappointments lately here with this club. Ha ha. What? Meanwhile, Szoboszlai's Hungary played 2 good years of football, picking up quite a lot of points, but has no chance to qualify anymore. But luckily, he's used to disappointments lately here with this club. Ha ha. Why would he say that? What an awful thing to say. That's horrendous. Oh, wow. Oh, dearie me. Why on earth would you say that as manager? It feels like he's having an absolute mental breakdown, Slot. It really does feel like he's completely falling apart as a manager. I hope someone puts that to Szoboszlai in an interview. I really do. Your manager said that you're used to disappointments at Liverpool. Amazing. I've suddenly started to turn around and quite like Arne Slot. He's really growing on me lately. So there you go. Let's go to. Let's go to. Are you sure he said that? I'm reading it. I'm reading it on the website from where the from this article. I mean, I'm assuming it's true. He's used to disappointment. Let me see if I can find it in another place. We'll double source it for you. That's what that's what I always tell you that you should do. Used to disappointment. Disappointment. We did talk about it. We spoke about it. It was a big disappointment being close to playoffs and then going out. It's really hard to concede, especially because on the other side you see Robbo. Did he say that? Oh, this quote's slightly different. Maybe someone's been reporting some inconsistencies. Every word of the transfer. Oh, hold on. Disappointment. Oh, maybe that website is lying. Oh, that's a shame. But this is why we double check. Oh, hold on. No, every word. I've got it right here. It's hard for him that they've actually had quite a good season or two because of the national team being in Group A and picking up quite a lot of points in their qualifying group, but not qualifying. It's hard, but recently at our club, he's a little bit used to disappointments, but not such a big one as that maybe. He will be fine. So basically what's happened there is I think a journalist has, at the press conference, typed out a quick quote and missed a few words out from the quote, and it's gone up on Twitter. That website's grabbed that quote, put it up on their website. That's the full quote, but he still does say it. It's hard, but recently at our club, he's a little bit used to disappointments, but not such a big one as this one, maybe. So he still does say it. So, yeah, he did. He did say it. Not quite like the first quote we read out, but he did say it like the second one. So, yeah, he still said it. That's great. That's wonderful news. John says, Tom, does Dowman make the squad if Madueke's back tomorrow? It's going to be tougher for him, but I think probably, depending on how many other players are out, he can probably still have a good chance, but maybe not. King Kirk says, Tom, load up on the free competition, final one standing, and pick up a team each week to win. Is this betting? I have absolutely no interest in it. I have no interest in it at all. But thank you for that. Tejana says we are unlucky year after year regarding injuries. You're absolutely right. Tara says, is Gyökeres not fit? We don't think so, but who knows? 50-50. Could be a little bit. It's a little bit less insane how he actually said it, says King. Yeah, a little bit so. And Steve says it sounds like Slot is taking the mickey out of himself more than anyone else. So again, I still think he's kind of like cracking at the seams, it feels like. Anyway, thank you so much as always for tuning in. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic week and weekend to come as well. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, bright and early, to discuss the game, preview, lineups, more information, hopefully, and of course, react to today's games in the Premier League. I should probably take you through today's Premier League action and matches as well. We've got Burnley taking on Chelsea in the early kickoff, Bournemouth against West Ham, Brighton against Brentford, Fulham against Sunderland, Liverpool against Forest, Wolves against Palace, and then the late kickoff is Newcastle against Manchester City. Tomorrow's games, Leeds against Aston Villa, Arsenal against Spurs, and then Monday, Manchester United versus Everton. So we'll be back tomorrow to discuss all those Premier League games, the results from them, what they mean for us. Go and check out Subfocus's new album. And I look forward to seeing it tonight. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, listening, and as always, up the Arsenal.